Hi guys, and welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Busi and welcome to Conversations with Busi. First and foremost, thank you so much to each and every person who has taken the time to watch the videos that I've posted so far, liking my content, subscribing to my channel. It is really appreciated. And if you have not subscribed as yet, please hit the subscribe button, and please like my content. You can also share with your friends and family so that it can reach somebody who is at a place to receive what I share on my channel. All right, so now that the formalities are out of the way, so today I'm going to share a bit of a story time segment. So I will be sharing a testimony about something that happened in my life. And the reason why I chose to share, or why I'm choosing to share this today, is that I believe that life is just more impactful when you share experiences with other people, when you share your lessons and you share some of the things that you've learned or how you were able to overcome trials and tribulations. For me, it just makes life a bit more meaningful. And I believe that whatever experiences you experience in your life, because it's here to teach us a lesson, the more we share with other people, the more other people are empowered, so that when they are faced with similar challenges, they will know how to deal with it, right? So this is the reason why I decided to share this part of my life. Okay, so journey to baby number two. So my husband and I made a decision in 2019 that we are ready for baby number two. And I remember thinking to myself, you know what? I made a decision tonight that I'm going to have baby number two. In my mind, I thought I'll be pregnant that night, and that a month from now I will be pregnant, and we're going to live happily ever after. Boy, was I wrong. All right, so the journey actually took a turn that I don't think I ever expected or I was ever ready for. So, made a decision in 2019 that we're ready to have a baby. 3 months down the line, was not a very patient person. So I was the type of person, if I make a decision about something, it needs to happen today, it needs to happen now, and I will make sure that it happens. So I'm that kind of a person. And so having to make a decision that I'm going to have a baby and not wake up pregnant the next day was really something that I needed to learn and adapt to. It was something that was unfamiliar to me, because I thought to myself that I can do anything myself, and that I never thought that I would need to sit and wait for certain things to happen. So 2019, we make a decision that we are ready for baby number two. 3 months down the line, nothing happens. Now, impatient Busi, the old Busi, decides that we need to go to a gynae, because this cannot happen. No, we cannot wait. We do not have time to wait. So we're gonna do this. I'm rushing everything, because me, I want to rush everything. I want to do everything quickly. And so I decided to I spoke to my husband, and we decided, let me go to a gynae just to have things checked out. So I went to my gynae. I went to a gynae. Let me not say my gynae, because I don't think she was my gynae at the time. Went to, what? I don't understand what's happening. I've been off of contraceptives for 3 months and no baby. Where is the baby? And so, the gynae was so relaxed. She's like, what? You don't need to worry about anything. It's normal for you to get off, and your body takes some time for it to get used to being out of the system, and so you need to be patient. And so she used that word that I did not like, and so when I left that place, I was like, I'm not going back. She does not understand how critical this thing is. The baby is needed now. And so I went to my husband, and I'm guessing pressurized for us to find another way. And so because my gynae told me I should just wait 6 months, so I thought to myself, okay, it's already been 3 months, wait another 6 months. That is almost a year. I don't have a whole year to wait. And so I don't remember how we actually found this fertility specialist that we decided to go to. And I know it seems all abrupt, but the reason why I'm explaining about my patience is so that you can understand my reaction to the things that are happening in and around me. And so we find a fertility specialist. I think maybe now it's like 6 months in to waiting for a baby. Decide to go to this fertility specialist. So the first time that we meet this person, I don't even remember his name. I just remember he was very far for me to drive there. I thought it was extreme, somewhere in Joburg, and it felt too far. Went to this fertility specialist, very cold human being. To me, it felt very cold because I think, when you're going through something that you don't expect, I think doctors need to go to extra classes just for empathy, because I felt like he had zero empathy for what was going on. And I'm nervous. I don't know what's happening. I don't understand why I don't have a baby, especially because I have the first one. So for me, having a delay did not make sense at all. So went to this guy. He decides, okay, we need to do some tests. So they need to check the tubes are not tight. They need to check the ovaries. I don't remember what else. All I remember is that they needed to also take some blood. Um, it was all a very uncomfortable process for me. I had to go to different people, get tests done, and all these things. And they also needed to check my egg count as well, just to make sure that I have enough eggs. So all of this for me is like, okay, let's get it out of the way so that you can tell me how quickly the baby's gonna come. So after taking those tests, I think we needed to wait a bit, and then go back to the doctor for the second time. I think at this time when I had to go back, maybe it had been a year now. So I'm guessing it was in 2020 when I had to go back to the doctor, or just before. The timelines might be a bit skew. So 2020, or late 2019, I think it was to 2020, we go to this gynae for the second appointment. And like I said, this guy had zero empathy. He had zero understanding of what's happening or what's going on, or that we're real human beings that need some TLC, right? So this guy gets in, and I'm not sure if I remember what he said the results were. The only thing I remember is that he said my eggs have significantly reduced, and that he cannot explain why they've reduced. And then he's like, okay, we need to go through the IVF route. So I'm sitting there wondering to myself, okay, how how I understand that I want the baby tomorrow, but how are we going to IVF? Like, can somebody explain what's happening in my body? Why are my eggs finished or finishing? Um, Fix whatever is wrong. Like, do we need to go to that route? And I think because for him, he just said that word, and I remember just getting so numb, because for me, I felt like he's just saying something is wrong with me. This is all I heard. He said, let's go and do IVF, and I just heard something is wrong with me. And I remember the moment he just said IVF, I sat there and I just froze. Like, I don't think I remember anything else that the doctor said. That's why I don't even remember his name, because I don't remember how I got out of that place. I just got numb and I just froze about the whole thing, because I'm like, how am I going through IVF now? Like, I already have one baby. What is the delay? And I think in that moment, so that day I remember my husband and I drove in separate cars, because it was in the morning and we both needed to go to work, and we both work in different places. So it made more sense for us to drive separately, so that we can, when we finish the appointment, then we can get home in our separate cars. So now, after this doctor says IVF and I'm freezing, I think my husband tried to say something. I cannot remember anything in this moment in terms of what he said to me. I just remember that I froze. And I remember saying to myself, you know what, I'm rushing to the car because I'm going to cry. In my head, I'm like, I have failed as a woman. How is this happening to me? I don't have eggs. I can't make a child. What does it mean? Like, now I need assistance to have a baby. What did I do wrong? Like, I started to have all these questions in my mind. And I remember getting inside the car and I was ready to have a pity party. I was so sure, like, I'm gonna get in the car because I was in Joburg. It was gonna take me like more than 1 hour to drive to work. So I was like, you know what? I have more than enough time to cry this out. And I was even preparing myself because the tears were already um, close, and they were close to coming out. And as I got in the car and I sat in the car, just before, um, as I was driving to work, I was actually listening to gospel music. I was listening, I think this is the time when Mpumili Dwaba and Brandon were doing song covers, like gospel song covers. And I remember on my way, I was actually listening to the song The Blessing that they decided to cover together. And so I get in the car, I'm getting ready to cry, and I'm like, you know what? The Blessing is a perfect song. It's such a nice gospel song. When I get in the car, I'm just gonna start crying all the way to work. And I remembered just that past week, like I said, I'm a church girly, so I'm always at church, and my references will be about church. So I remember as I was sitting there and as I was about to start my pity party, I remember my pastor giving a testimony about how she went to the doctor's office, and the doctor gave her bad news or a bad report about her life. I don't even know if she told us what the report was, but she says that as she was about to cry, as she was about to start the pity party and feeling bad and being a victim, she just heard a voice say, "No, we are not crying about this. We are not crying about this." And so I remember getting in the car, and I was just reminded of this conversation to say, "No, we are not going to be crying about this. You are not going to say the wrong thing," because I was already preparing my heart about why I need to cry, why I'm such a victim, and why everything is not working out. And that voice came back to say, "Nope, we are not going to be doing that. This is not what's going to happen today. You're not going to feel bad about yourself. You're not going to be crying. You're not going to be a victim in this situation." And so I played the song, The Blessing. And I remember holding back the tears because I'm like, God, all I want to do is cry. And the Holy Spirit is like, "Nope, you are not doing that. What you will do, you will sing the lyrics to the song, The Blessing." And I remember forcing myself to sing to sing the song. And as I was singing the song, I was still crying, so the tears were rolling down my face. I couldn't help myself. But then the things that were coming out of my mouth was the song, The Blessing. And I just kept singing and I sang. And I remember I just repeated it all the way to work. And at some point, the tears just dried up. And I was like, you know what? It's okay. God, you are in control. And I never uttered a bad word. I never condemned God. I never said the wrong thing. And I just kept going as I was driving. So I ended up not uttering a bad word that day. So whatever bad thoughts that I had in my mind, the song made me replace those terrible things with the word of God. I ended up praising God and I ended up speaking the right things. And in that moment, I did not say the wrong things. I did not become a victim, because at the end of the day, you cannot be a victim and a victor at the same time. So if I want to be victorious in my life, I needed to make that change in my life to say, you know what, I will not be a victim in this situation. As much as I was looking forward to a pity party, it is not going to work for me. And so I need to make sure that I don't say the wrong thing. And so I ended up driving to work. My husband and I remember, I didn't say much to him. I don't know what I said because like I said, I froze, and I drove to work and I continued with my life like nothing happened. And I made a decision in that moment that I'm not going to go back to see that guy. Okay, so this is in 2020, like probably early 2020. I decided, you know what, I'm just gonna leave it. I'm not gonna follow what he said, because you know what, negative, I'm just gonna block him out. Then I think a few months down the line, I decided, you know what, let me go back, because now I'm still not pregnant. And again, I'm summarizing it and making it sound like it was a romantic journey. It was not, because I, I'm sure there's people who has gone through this, where if you get out of contraceptives, there's moments in your life where your body is trying to go back to normal, so you feel like you're actually pregnant. There's days where you feel pregnant, you miss your period, your all the symptoms of being pregnant are there. So you can imagine the emotional turmoil of going to keep testing, finding out you're not pregnant, keep testing, finding out you're not pregnant. Sometimes you wait 2 months, and when you wait the 2 months, you go back and test, and you're like, this time I am so sure. You go and test, finding out not pregnant again. Okay, so I went through, I think I was testing every month, if not every 3 weeks. But it was like a very obsessive journey. Even though I made a decision not to go back to that doctor, I was still testing every single week. I was still trying to get folic acid in my body, trying to, when you search and Google things of what to do naturally to get yourself pregnant, and it was not working. I was praying and it was not working. None of it was working. I think in 2020 I made a decision again to, let me go back to the gynae. So I initially went to my first gynae, who I decided to leave because I felt like she's not telling me what I wanted to hear. Then I went to the fertility specialist, who was also just not a good human being for what I needed in the moment. Then I went back to my gynae again, and I think maybe this time I tried to change my attitude and said to myself, you know what, let me go to this person with an open mind. Let me get relaxed. And I think the timeline difference between seeing the fertility specialist and seeing now my gynae was about 6 months. I remember this because of the conversations that I had with my gynae. So I decided to go to the gynae now, get to the gynae playing gospel music, and I was like, you know what, this is a sign. God has destined for this to happen. Me and this lady are going to click. You know what, this baby will come tomorrow. It is definitely going to happen. And so I get to the gynae, and then she is asking questions, and again sending me to more tests. I need to go and check my tubes, my ovaries. I need to check the number of eggs and all of that. So when I went to the fertility specialist, I think at the time he said my egg count has dramatically decreased and he cannot explain it. And so I remember that result. The specialist also highlighted that my tubes were not tied in any way. I did not have any cysts or fibroids or any other issue. The only thing was that I didn't have enough eggs in my system, but then he could see that they're still there. Hence, he was saying, let's do IVF, which I thought was extremely dramatic. And I decided to just move on from him because he didn't understand me. And so gynae went to her, we did some tests again. It's a very uncomfortable process. They put tubes and put all of these things in you, and you come out of it and you're like, you know what, at this point you just feel like something is broken in my body. Like, the thing is, women sometimes we go through so much where you already have a lot of insecurities about your own things happening, and now to have somebody come and check your body and you're like, you know what, it seems like something is wrong and you're not capable of carrying another child. So the gynae, wait for the results, go back again. So you go to the gynae, you see her, you go get your tests, then you wait for the results. So when the results were ready, she called me back. My husband and we went in, and this time it was a shock of my life. I walk into the gynae back, and she gives me some sachets of things to do that will help my eggs to get better quality eggs and all of these things. And so I take all of those sachets, I go home again. Every month, every week, every minute, you feel like you're pregnant. So you're taking the sachets. When you're finished, you must also go do ovulation tests every couple of days. You need to do that. Now you need to start scheduling when you need to do certain things to make sure that the baby comes. So it was just a whole emotional turmoil. And I remember she said to me, if I do this, I must just wait about, I think it was about 3 months, and if nothing has happened, then I need to go back to her. So I'm thinking, you know what, first week or first month of doing these sachets, I am probably pregnant. So you know what? Every single day I am testing, I'm testing, I'm testing. Again, not pregnant. Got to a point where I got so frustrated. I'm like, I used to convince myself that I'm not going to test again, but then something would happen that my body would fool me into thinking that I'm pregnant, and I'll be like, this time we are sure. I even missed my period. It means that I'm pregnant, only to find I am not. So 3 months elapsed after she gave me these sachets. I decided to go back to the gynae and say, hey, my lady, your things are not working. Where is the baby? I feel like I've been asking this question. Where is the baby? I've been waiting for a baby and there is no baby. Where is this baby? So I go to her, and then she went through some things and she did another test, and she's like, you know what? I don't know how to explain this to you, but you have no eggs. And I remember sitting there like, how? Nah, I don't remember a lot of biology, right, in school. I don't know if I was paying attention or not, but I remember that we're supposed to have a lot of eggs. Like, eggs don't just run out. I mean, I'm not 40. I was not even 35 at the time. Where are my eggs? Like, I just felt like with all these tubes that they were doing, that they were flashing them out. And she's like, nope. The last test that you did with your other doctor, you had, I think, about 8 eggs left out of millions that we're supposed to have as women. She's like, I had 8, and now it looks like there aren't any eggs left. Again, freeze. Another freeze. How do I accept that I have 0 eggs in my body? Was it because I sinned here? Was it because I did this? You really start to question and think that, you know what, how is all of this my fault? Like, what did I do to make sure that I don't have eggs? Like, happen. And again, doctors have a weird way where they are so used to dealing with these things that they don't sit back and give you a moment to process. Because my doctor, immediately when she told me about not having eggs, she completely moved on to, these are the options. So you guys can use it. Moved now from IVF to a surrogate. And I'm like, and she's moving on to, I'm still trying to process that I have 0 eggs, and she's moving on to, oh, these are the options. This is what you can do. You can get a person who looks like you, can mix the person's eggs and your husband's, blah blah, and make an egg and make a baby. And I'm just sitting there like, God, how is this my life? How is this the life that you prepared for me? How could I have avoided this? What did I do? Like, I'm not even listening to what she's saying. She gives us papers and all these things. And I'm like, right now, I don't need papers. I don't need option B, 3, 4, whatever. I need to understand what is going on. I couldn't process any of it. And I remember leaving the room. We had so many papers with us. And my husband trying to, again, have conversation. And I was like, I can't speak. And this time we were in the same car. So I just asked to have a moment where I don't speak. I remember getting home and just asking for a few minutes to go and process what's happening. I remembered an episode that I watched on YouTube where this lady had severe burns in her body, and somebody was interviewing her, asking how she was able to live every single day and how she's able to go on daily. And she's like, you know what? A friend of hers told her that, you know what, she's only allowed to cry 5 minutes a day. She can only feel bad about herself for 5 minutes, and after 5 minutes is done, they need to move on because there's other things that they need to do with their lives. So I remember when I got home, I just told my husband, I need 5 minutes. I went to my room and I cried for 5 minutes. After I'd even timed myself after 5 minutes, because I was like, you know what? Again, I'm not gonna have a pity party about what's happening, because I can sit here, slumber and cry and feel bad and continue to feel bad. And if I texted people and I called people, they would help me to feel bad, because this is a time I should feel bad. But at the end of the day, what am I going to achieve if I feel bad for so long? So I went into the room, set a timer for 5 minutes, and I cried in that 5 minutes. And I remember thinking to myself, you know what? I am done with this process. I think at this point it had been a year and a half or more than close to 2 years of this journey of fertility where I'm not having a baby. I, in that moment, made a decision that, you know what, I'm done. I'm done trying to have this baby. And not done in a way that I gave up, but I just surrendered. I had a small prayer there. It was not even one where I was praying in tongues or it wasn't crazy. It was just like, God, you know what? I've prayed for this baby. I've gone to the doctors. Now it is really up to you. And I am making a decision that right now I have one child, I have a husband. I'm going to enjoy my life as it is. The baby is there in heaven. I believe that there's plenty of kids up there in heaven. When my baby is ready, you will bring her down. But right now, I'm going to enjoy my life. My husband and I, and the daughter you've already given us, we're going to go on vacations. We're going to enjoy ourselves. We're going to have game nights. We're going to go out to restaurants. We're going to read books. We're going to take walks. I am just going to enjoy the life that I have now and leave it to you. So in that moment, as I was crying out, I was also having this prayer. I'm not even sure if I said this prayer out loud, but I remember it so vividly that this is the prayer that I made to say, I surrender. And as I surrender, I'm letting go and I'm done trying to make the thing work out for myself. I'm done trying to force doctors to do things for me. I have prayed and now I leave it up to you. It is really up to you to make sure that it happens, but I'm just going to enjoy the life that you've given me. I made that decision. It was in 20, at this point, it's now 2021. So it's been since 2019, 2021, no baby. And when I received this news, it was January 2021. And I remember it was like on the 3rd of Jan. Like, give me the babies that are up in heaven, but I'm not going to be obsessive about it. I will just enjoy the life that I have now. And so I let it go. I moved on. I remember because it was in January at church, we were starting the 21-day fast, and I decided to fast and pray. And even in that fasting and prayer, I remember so well that I was not obsessive about how I prayed of my baby. And I had a name, and I remember calling her out. And in prayer, I would just say, I'm calling Butalo, and that's her name, Butalo. I'm calling Butalo, and I receive her into my life. The minute I was done praying, I would release the prayer and leave it. I wouldn't obsess about it. I was not sitting there second guessing God, wondering where's the baby coming from. And in that moment, I also made a decision to stop now taking pregnancy tests. And I was like, you know what, at this point, the day I'm pregnant, the baby will just come out because I am not going to test. I'm not going to find out. I am done obsessing about this situation. So every day during the 21 days, I was going into prayer, praying about a whole lot of other things, not just for the baby, but I would pray and I would ask for her by name and I would say, I'm receiving the baby and I receive her into our lives. The minute I finish praying, I release the prayer to God and I would continue to live and enjoy my life with my family, the family that God had given me in that time. And I really learn how to let go. I really learn how to trust in God's timing. Like I said in the beginning of the video about my impatience, that I struggled a lot with it. I was the type of person who, if I pray for something and God doesn't do it immediately, I have a plan B, plan C, plan D. And this time I could not do anything. All my plans were not working out because the doctors were saying I do not have any eggs, nothing else is going to happen in my life. Fast forward to April, yes. So April, I was faced in my life with a small predicament. I needed to make a decision about something in my career, and I needed confirmation from God about what it is that I need to do. I don't know why one of the bets was if I find out I'm pregnant, then I'm not gonna do this thing that I'm planning. And so, and the reason why I said if I find out I'm pregnant is because I had been taking so many tests in my life before this for 2 years. For 2 full years, I had been taking so many pregnancy tests, and I was like, you know what, God, I will not be pregnant. So it means I'm going to do this thing that I said I will do because I will find out that I'm not pregnant. So there will be no need to do it. And so, and I'm not sure. I think, you know, the minute you're pregnant, your body somehow tells you that this time is different. I've had signs of pregnancy before, like I said, in the past 2 years, where I've had this journey with fertility. And in those times, so I knew that something was different. I knew something was off, and I needed to confirm. And in the first week of May, I finally decided to go and take a pregnancy test, only to find out I am pregnant. 2 years later, I found out I am pregnant, and it was very hard for me to believe. I went through this journey for so long. I don't know if I believe that it's really happened this time. And so I took another one just to confirm if I'm really pregnant or not, and I found out pregnant. And then still didn't believe. I decided to made an appointment to go to I think we went to a clinic, or yeah, it was 1st of May was a holiday, and so doctors were closed. I remember, I think we went to a clinic or a hospital, one of the two. And then when we got there, we found out it was really true. We were pregnant. And then on the following Monday, we went to the gynae, only to find out I was 3 months pregnant. Okay, so now I know that with this journey, it sounds a bit like I've romanticized the whole process. Like, it sounds like it was a beautiful love story. It was so nice. It was a terrible process where I really struggled a lot. But one thing that I learned throughout this process is the power to surrender. That there's a distinct difference between giving up and surrendering. Giving up is just saying, you know what, I don't want to do this anymore. But surrendering is to say, you know what, I want this thing, God, but I trust your timing. I trust that you will give me this thing when the time is right. And I needed to make that decision. I needed to understand what it means to surrender. That I surrender and not check. It's like when you plant a seed, you plant it and you water it and you leave it. If you keep digging it out to check if it's actually taking root or not, then that is not surrender. You plant a seed, you cover it with soil, you water it. That is surrender. That's what I had to learn to do towards the end. The first lesson that I got was learning to not be a victim, because I cannot be a victim and a victor at the same time. I need to pick a struggle and to learn the power of not saying the wrong things. I did not know what to say that was correct. Driving from that fertility specialist, driving home, I did not have the right words to speak, because every single thought in my mind was how I felt like my body had defeated me, how I felt like my body is not working or functioning the way it was supposed to function. But instead of declaring those things, the Holy Spirit helped me to declare the right things, even though it was through a song, because in that moment I had no words to speak. I had nothing. I didn't know how to praise God in that moment, but God helped me to have the right song so that I can make the right declaration. So, in closing, I'd just like to say, faith is like a muscle that needs a workout. If you don't have faith in the small things, it becomes very difficult to have faith in the big things. Practice having faith daily. Have faith that that meeting that you have planned will go well, that God will help you through a tough conversation that you need to have with your spouse, with your family, with your kids. Have faith that God will cure your headache, that God will cure your flu. Start small and start daily. The day big things come, you already know God comes through for you in so many different ways, and you will not struggle through it. God really sustained me in that time of not knowing what was happening, and He really just made sure that I stay grounded in what I needed to stay grounded in. He uses the situation to help me to grow, as I said when I started the episode. And I feel like He's helped me to understand what it is to surrender, what it is to praise God, what it is to not say the wrong things, what it to not be a victim when we find ourselves in situations that are bad. So my daughter, I gave birth to her in 2022. She is currently 2 years old. And you know what? Every single day when I go through struggles and I go through a situation where I feel like things are not working out in my favor, every time I look at her, I am reminded of how faithful God was in the time where there seemed to be no way, where the doctors were saying it is not possible. God is like, I am a God who works things out. I'm a God who does the impossible. So I really hope that this has encouraged you in some way. If you're going through a struggle in your life, be it a fertility journey, or be it a situation where you were struggling to trust God, I really hope that this was encouraging for you to know that God works things out for good, and that He helps us when that thing, that intuition that tells you, don't do this, don't cry, don't say this, don't say that, keep quiet, don't call that friend to tell them about this, don't say this to that person. Let's listen to that intuition, because it is God trying to get us into the right headspace so that He can allow the things that He needs to do in our lives to work out the way that He wants. I really hope this was encouraging. If you liked anything that I spoke about today, please like, please comment, please share with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Until next time, thank you guys. Bye.